It's your daily sports dump.
Yay! And I'm your host, Joe Canale.
Boo.
Okay. Well, that's it. This is our first try of our new Zoom studios. Maybe I'll go a little up here. We get a little bit of the sports
Oh,
dump
yeah.
towel, the
Get
sports
that good
dump.
stuff.
This is our new studio. You're in your current studios, Dan. I'm Joe Canale, the
Yes.
host. This is my co-host, Dan Antonucci. And I'm saying that, folks, because this is a video recording as well. So if you're just listening to the audio, you can go on our YouTube page and see what we look like. If
Wouldn't
you really
that be
want to.
interesting?
Wouldn't it? But there's a lot to talk about sports. We were going to have Dave Pompei on with us today, but he's going to be here with us tomorrow. And it might be obvious why I would want to have, after this week's events, somebody who wasn't just one of us two white dudes here.
Yes.
I might offer a different perspective. But even then, when I was talking to Dave last night, who is African American, he was like, let's not get too much. Let's talk some sports. Because I do get, I get the impression that if you are an African American right now, all of your white friends are just all over you.
I'm sure.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't want to overwhelm during this time, but we also want to get all the kind of relevant points of view out.
Yes.
And this is also a beta test of our new video technology. So we'll see. Like right now, I may ask for you to jazz up your
My bunker?
your bunker at some point.
Okay.
I know you've got
Maybe
the
I'll
stuff
put a
there.
sign up or hang a jersey or something.
And in the future, yeah, you have such a litany of great jerseys that
Mhm.
we'll have to put those into play at some point as well.
Yeah. I liked when I purchased a lot of my jerseys, I thought, oh, how cool. It's going to be so fun to have this. And then I realized every jersey is going to be some question where I then have to explain this obscure,
Well, not
probably
your UConn
unpurchasable
ones.
jersey.
I think
Right.
any
Yeah, those are
UConn
pretty
jersey you
clear.
wear is. I had a Mitch Richmond jersey. I can't find it.
Ooh, he's one of my all-time favorite
Golden
players.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From age 10 to 16, I'd say he was probably my favorite player in the NBA.
He was good. I mean, he was kind of, there were a number of guys who people tried to have as their Jordan, their two guard.
Mm-hmm.
None measured up, obviously,
Yeah.
but what are you going
He
to
was
do?
a pretty special player, Jordan.
True that. Now, there's a few things I haven't sorted out. For example, if I want to go on to my to look at something on the internet, can you see me right now still?
Yeah, clear
So the
as
camera's
day.
working while I do research, which is great.
Yeah, you don't
Because
turn invisible when you look at the
I
net.
don't even know how this stuff works. But let's get into the meat of our episode, the sports things that we'll talk about. Again, we're not going to get too heavy today because there's been a lot of people doing the heavy work. And while we don't want to ignore it, that's really not what something called the sports dump is necessarily always here for.
No. The sports dump realizes there's a human rights crisis and we're doing our thing, but that's not for this.
That's exactly right. And there is a segment that I keep thinking we're not going to have for a long time, and it's called the mock draft update. But I tell you what,
NBA.
CBS Sports keeps doing 2021 NFL mocks. They did
What
another
a
one.
racket. The NFL could sneeze sideways and fart into a vast hole and make $6 million.
It's so true. I mean, they are doing, like, we don't even know if this season's going to be played.
No.
And maybe it's this points to the lack of sports in general that they're forced to do an NFL 2021 draft. And we all know Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number one pick.
Yeah.
The guy from Clemson.
He a dancer, a backup quarterback?
He's a starting quarterback. It's rare they draft a backup as the number one pick.
That's the future, though.
Yeah, Matt Castle, he started a season.
Yeah.
He was a backup in college. You see it sometimes.
Yeah. Who was famously, weren't Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas in the same backfield at one point in Oklahoma State?
I'll tell you a story. I know this because I'm a Nebraska fan. By the way, don't go on any Midwestern or Southern football teams' chat boards and try to prove racism. Won't happen.
Oh, Jesus.
That's another story.
Yeah,
But Nebraska was recruiting Barry Sanders, and Tom Osborne didn't want him. Well, Tom Osborne wanted him, but he already had Johnny Rodgers Jr., which
Oh
is
yeah,
the son of a
yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, and so Osborne thought we can't have two small guys.
All
So
right.
Thurman Thomas talked trash against the Nebraska, maybe the 91 team or something. Broderick Thomas and Neil Smith were on that team.
Love Broderick Thomas.
Neil Smith, big defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
So Thurman Thomas talked a bunch of trash. So Broderick Thomas was like, great, we're going to see.
Yeah.
First half, Thurman Thomas had like 2 yards on 8 carries or 10 carries or something. So he's shut down. Second half, this freshman, Barry Sanders, comes in.
Mm-hmm.
He has like 80 yards and like 2 drives.
Mm-hmm.
He scores 2 touchdowns or whatever. And so the story that we heard from, I think it was either Milt Tenopir, who was their offensive line coach, or their defensive coach at Nebraska, was telling us in an interview. And he's like, so Sanders is ripping up the defense, a defense that was very good and had shut down Thurman Thomas.
Yeah.
And so he just sidles up to Osborne and he's like, so we couldn't take 2 small guys, huh? You know,
Yeah.
Barry Sanders in college was maybe even more impressive, although he just had more breakaway runs for touchdowns. The Lions were so bad that you got to see how good he was with all that dodging around.
I think the Lions, as much as I complain over I love Barry absolutely as my all-time favorite.
So excited.
But as much as I complain about the Lions, I think it was cool to see him in such a lacking team, because you really got to see the best of his
It's like Walter
skills.
Payton in those early years with the Bears was, he was everything. He's all they had. And he would run through guys because he knew that that was it for them. They had the 85 Super Bowl on last night, or the night before. And I only had it on for the fridge touchdown. And I remember even at the time being like, give it to Peyton, man.
Yeah.
Why do you put the fridge? That is total running it up, and it's Ditka's ego and all that shit. So I know I went from the mock draft update into this diatribe about stuff, but the point being, what the hell, CBS Sportsline.
And who's sitting there like getting pumped when they see another one come out? Is there that many?
With what everything is going on now, Pushker's mock draft update, that's not, it's like the content couldn't be more superfluous. And maybe that's what you're looking for, but then just watch a Disney movie or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now,
a whole other trap.
It is a whole nother trap. Now, obviously, the world is going crazy and all that's hitting sports, but I just want to say that we have the potential next month is going to be, we've been in this sports drought. Next month is going to be a sports tsunami.
Oh, yeah.
NBA starting up, July. NBA starting up. Now, baseball we'll talk about in a second, but the NBA starts up with like 6 games and then the playoffs. And a new playoff format, perhaps, just a little bit at the end there with the 7 and 8.
Shortly thereafter, a new NBA season.
And the NHL is doing this like open tournament thing too, which is, and the only time to watch the NHL is the playoffs. And they're going right into it. So you're going to have that. All the European soccer leagues are going to try to squeeze the rest of their seasons into like a abbreviated time. So they're playing 2 games a week instead of 1.
Wow.
So you're going to get weekday games in all these European leagues too. And then potentially, if they don't screw it up too bad, baseball will be starting with, again, every game's going to be twice as important.
Wow.
So
maybe we're learning that seasons don't need to be so long. They can just be more exciting.
A shorter season makes it more important. Now, the problem is money. Everybody wants the game money and everything. But as stadiums now become different, like who knows if, maybe we'll get more leg room is the outcome of all this, is that we will have more leg room.
That would be a very nice adjustment.
Yeah,
that should go for airlines too.
Well, that's what my first thought is, actually, because that's where you really need to spread out. Although the other thought is, if the air's all circulating in there, does it really matter where you're sitting anyway?
Yeah. No.
Like, how do you know, like the air is up above everybody's head, no matter how many little
Yeah.
stations you have. Now, sneezes and stuff you'll stay away from, but who knows how that goes. But the point is, I mean, there's such bigger fish to fry right now. But hopefully, as things are smoothing out, if that happens in a way, and good things start happening, and then we go into sports. Now, the one thing I know is that we're headed towards November, and I don't want to get political or anything, but I know that shit's going to get crazy again then. So I wonder if the sports seasons are all like, let's finish everything before the shit hits the fan second time,
Hmm.
except baseball, and see what we can do. Because they I think they know enough to know that shit's going to get nutso at some point.
Oh yeah. Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up, Buttercup.
Hmm.
Any observations, things you wanted to get off your mind about
Sure.
sports?
I watched a little of the cornhole presentations on ESPN. I added them to my recordings just for fun, and
Sure.
of
Any
course,
observations of cornhole? Social distancing,
it's
wearing masks.
yeah, they're wearing masks. They have a referee that calls them, like if two guys are in the box, they'll say, "Oh, step out,"
Step out, step
so
out.
that they don't
No
get too
fans.
close. Yep,
The
no
big crowds
fans.
are
Well,
not
that
there.
I think that just comes with being professional cornhole.
No, there's people who watch. There's people
Well,
who
these
go to
people make
watch.
a living. The number 2 player in the world was playing. His occupation was professional cornhole player. The number 9 guy is a representative for one of the cornhole manufacturers. It's like it's what a thing. We'll throw money at anything, man. It's
We will.
very impressive.
So we have a little back garage area where all the cars in our building are parked, and there's like a tennis court sized middle open area of concrete. And that's where my daughter and my wife and I we go out and let her run around and try to do some stuff too. And we have a little Nerf football, and we set the chairs up, and we were throwing the ball at the chairs. It was like, what do you need cornhole for? Like,
Yeah.
set your own game up with whatever
Hmm.
things you have
Absolutely. All you need is a
and play by
popcorn
your own
kernel and a
rules.
piece
I
of
mean,
paper. Yeah.
yes, you saw Jordan in the documentary playing that quarter game against the wall.
Oh yeah.
Ultimately, that's about the same thing.
Yeah. That's
You know,
I love Jordan so much more after that.
well, I think maybe he puts this thing out, he controls the whole thing. He thinks, all right, here's my PR thing, and then it's like that's still not doing it
No.
necessarily. Now, I'm
Well,
not
I
saying
guess
that's
it
why he put
depends.
the money in, but I mean, he could do that 10 more times.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
over
yeah.
10 years, but it is great. It's the first thing, like, to have it happen from Jordan is huge.
Hmm.
I think hopefully he's understanding his importance. And a lot of people say, Jordan's the greatest, but LeBron is surpassing him socially in terms of being important to society. And Jordan doesn't want to lose any contest.
No. No.
So,
And that's why I think competitors at that level are really intriguing characters.
yes.
Mm.
And you've just got to be able to understand his psychology and say, well, all right, how can I get Jordan to get on the right side of this? Maybe it's happening now.
Yeah.
Not that he's on the wrong side, but he didn't take a side openly.
Yeah.
And now he has. So that's good.
Yeah.
So, and you're our NBA insider,
Yes.
unless Amin becomes a bigger part of the show. But we would have to actually record and put up one of the episodes we did with him
Great. And if you
instead of,
wanted to devise a small quiz to give both Amin and I in a live format, I'd be happy to go head to head with him.
I'll see if he's into that. I think he would be.
Your audio was just, I don't know if you were just moving your mouth just then or saying words, but I didn't hear anything you just said.
I said that would be wonderful. It would be
Oh,
awesome. It
okay.
was under my breath. I should keep that in mind. I'm going to be getting some better equipment too, if this is going to be the new setup. Just so you know.
Great. Embarrassingly, I'm sitting in the shadow of a of a ring light I could use to like perfectly light myself. I'm going for the
Gotta
dramatic,
go.
like
Yeah,
half
we're
and
going.
half.
Yes, we'll go for the natural lighting today. It's our first, and again, if anything exciting happens at any point, I can just go, strobing it up here
Yeah. Ah,
because celebration light. If
that's
anything good
literally
happens.
like $650,000 of production value right there.
So we've got effects if need be. I'm still working on the audio effects, so. But as our NBA guy, and we'll concentrate on that because the plan just got ratified. So there's 22 teams in. most of the Western Conference and 9 teams for that. What an embarrassment for for the
Wow.
Eastern Conference. Only one team out of the playoffs gets into the season. So how do you feel for those 8 teams that aren't in?
They're probably relieved, to be honest, to
I
have
hear
a
like
little.
Atlanta wanted to play a lot to get,
Yeah.
young team playing. You don't hear
I
the
don't know.
Knicks
There's.
complaining.
Yeah, exactly. Well, please, what a like, like. There's no. If I say something serious, you can't. They're just a joke.
Yeah, they are.
I feel bad, I guess, for the teams that can't play, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? There's
What are you
no.
going to do? Nothing.
You just get healthy, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Bucks are gonna win it all now, just because of body spryness.
Because they're a young team and coming
Hmm.
back. Now, I think there's an opportunity for LeBron because I think in a situation like this, where it's
Uh,
all up in the air, you're either going to see like Houston win it, something crazy,
hmm.
Houston or Toronto gets in the finals again or something.
Yeah.
Toronto Clippers would be interesting, but I think any combination within the first probably 6 seeds of each league,
Yeah.
of each conference is possible.
If the Clippers win it all, Kawhi Leonard should be talked about as one of the top 4 or 5 greatest players of all time.
He certainly makes a huge no. Has anybody ever won a championship in one conference, gone to another team, won a championship the next year? I can't think that's happened.
No, his only year. It's not like it took some time to build. And he went to Toronto. I was like, all right, let's do this. And they've got other good pieces too, but
Yeah.
you take him
Winning
out of it.
winning titles with 3 teams as one of the 2 best players is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
If it happens.
Does he have 2 or 3 total? Did he only get 1 with San Antonio championship?
I
Or
think he
2?
only got 1 because I think the 2 that they lost, he was there for.
Okay.
Maybe he got 2, but at least the 1. So I think the NBA hockey with their playoff thing, that's always crazy.
Yeah.
Like the hockey playoffs are always unpredictable. And quite frankly, I couldn't even tell you who the team that's favorite is. Yeah.
Vegas?
All right.
I don't
That's
know.
all right. It's still okay to be ignorant about hockey and be a sports fan somehow. But once it gets rolling, I'll be more into it. But with
But
the
seriously,
NBA,
weren't the Vegas Golden Knights like the hockey team? I wasn't being facetious.
from the
Yeah.
finals, as an
Yeah.
expansion team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, that
like this
happened in
regular season, weren't they having a good season? Like, aren't they
maybe.
legit?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're the best team this year. I don't know. Could be.
Okay.
I think they're in the playoffs at least this year. But, the Jacksonville Jaguars, when they were an expansion team, went for a more veteran presence. Teams
Sure.
usually go one way or the
Coughlin.
other. The
Mhm.
thing is, you could end up like, you can't argue with the success Vegas had. But what if they go into now a long period of suffering in their first 10 years? It's like, now we're an
Yeah.
expansion team again. So
Well,
who
the
knows?
Raiders, yeah, it's gonna be
Well,
interesting.
and you got the Raiders coming in there. Vegas is an interesting sports spot.
It'd be a
Yeah.
great baseball city too. Well, nah,
Too hot.
not
Too
unless
hot.
they had
Dome.
dome situation.
You
Yeah.
need a dome. But baseball is a sport you can bet on all day. I mean, we found out people can bet on everything all the time, anytime.
Oh yeah, the prop bets, inning to inning and pitch to pitch, ridiculous, man.
Well, did you ever play on the mound, off the mound?
Uh, is that where you like have $1 and if he steps off or does
Yep.
this
With the ball between innings, it's when you're at
Yeah,
a
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
You got a cup usually, and you say on the mound, off the mound. If you get it right, you get the cup. If you get it wrong, you put $1 in the cup, and it goes to the next thing.
It's always fun.
Always fun. Always fun.
It makes boring or mediocre games way more interesting when you have that type of juice going.
Juice is, even $1 of juice can be good,
Sure.
especially in a baseball game. All right. Well, we've talked about cornhole. We've talked about all the big major sports. We've mentioned and yet still kind of stayed away from the things that we should and and maybe we'll get into later. You got anything else for us here in the end of this episode? We're back. I took all of last week off, obviously. I had no desire, like just getting on your phone, going on Twitter. I was like, I can't do something stupid now.
No.
Now I can.
Yeah.
Thank
you. There you go.
And you help.
No, that's good. Maybe some point we'll we'll discuss gaming, sports,
What do you
like
mean gaming?
the professional where they
Oh,
play
esports.
competitive esports type thing, just to see how ignorant we are and have fun with that.
We'll do an
And
esports report. See who knows. We'd have to have somebody on the show to kind of quiz us,
yeah.
maybe.
And Korean baseball. I've been following Korean baseball late at night a little bit. A lot of
Really?
major leaguers playing
All right.
in
Well,
those games.
just to wrap up, why don't you give us, if you can, could you give us a little bit
Mel,
of a KBL
yeah,
or?
I think Mel Rojas Jr. is
Mhm.
like probably just like a huge star in Korea right now because he's tearing it up.
Is he hitting home
Yeah.
runs?
Oh yeah, hitting doubles, triples, homers. Yeah.
So that's your
Every
player.
night around 2:30 a.m. I think games start or 12:30 or something like that.
Sometimes they start a little earlier out here.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what time tonight's games start. Stand by.
Stand by
Eh,
for your KBL
Yeah.
update.
Entertain the crowd for a moment as I gather this
Oh,
data
all
up.
right,
Okay.
absolutely.
All
We'll
right,
keep
here
the
we
crowd
go.
entertained. Here we go.
2:30 a.m. There's 5 games tonight.
5 games. Which one will you be watching?
I'll try to be tuning into the. Hold on, let me say this here. Stand by for one more second, please. The KIW versus SAM.
Ah, yes. Thank you for not knowing the name of
Yeah.
the teams.
Tay In-Wan is pitching. Jose Fernandez is playing first base tonight. Tyler Saladino from the big leagues is playing in the KIW SAM game. There's a lot of good stuff going on over there. They're staying loose.
Yes, they are. They're staying ready. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for that KBL. It was worth and waiting to end the show. This is the Sports Dump. Pardon me. And since we are doing a little video thing here, you can see us on our Sports Dump YouTube page. The Sports Dump, I believe, is what it is. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at Sports Dump Show. Instagram for now, although I may get rid of that. Instagram's tied in with the Facebook, and it's not doing much for us, that Instagram. We'll see.
There you go.
But go to the Twitter, and of course, rate, review us on iTunes or Spotify, and we're here every day this week until something crazy happens that we don't do sports again.
Yep.
It's your daily Sports Dump. Thank you, everybody. We're out.
Boo.
Yeah.
Yay.
How do you stop recording?